this verse.
Okay. You want to put it there.
Before that, we'll have prayers. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Devotees can repeat if they can unmute themselves.
Om Namo Bhagavate
Vasudevaya.
Om
Om
Namo Bhagavate
Vasudeva.
Vasudevaya.
Om
Om
Namo
Namo
Bhagavate
Bhagavate
Vasudevaya.
Vasudevaya.
So let's recite this verse. Teshamevanukampartam
Tesham
Esamevanu
evanukampartam.
Teshamevanukampartam
Tesham evanukampartam.
Aham Ajnanajam Tamaha
Aham agnanajam tamaha.
Aham Ajnanajam Tamaha
Aham agnanajam tamaha.
Nashayami Atmabhavasto
Nashayami atmabhavasto.
Nashayami Atmabhavasto
Nashayami yami atmabhavasto.
Jnanadipena Bhaswata
Gnanadipena bhashvata.
Jnanadipena Bhaswata.
Gnanadipena bhashvata.
Tesham, for them, eva certainly, anukampartam, to show special mercy. I, agyanajam, due to ignorance. Tama, darkness. Nashayame, dispel. Atma bhava, within their hearts. Atmastha, situated. Jnana, of knowledge. Deepena, with the lamp. Bhaswata, glowing. Translation: to show them special mercy, I, dwelling in their hearts, destroy with the shining lamp of knowledge the darkness born of ignorance. Purport: when Lord Chaitanya was in Banaras promulgating the chanting of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, thousands of people were following him. Prakashananda Saraswati, a very influential and learned scholar in Banaras, at that time derided Lord Chaitanya for being a sentimentalist. Sometimes Mayavadi philosophers criticize the devotees because they think that most of the devotees are in the darkness of ignorance and are philosophically naive sentimentalists. Actually, that is not the fact. There are very learned scholars who have put forward the philosophy of devotion. But even if a devotee does not take advantage of the literatures or of his spiritual master, if he is sincere in his devotional service, he is helped by Krishna himself within his heart. So the sincere devotee engaged in Krishna consciousness cannot be without knowledge. The only qualification is that one carry out devotional service in full Krishna consciousness. The Mayavadi philosophers think that without discriminating, one cannot have pure knowledge. For them, this answer is given by the Supreme Lord. Those who are engaged in pure devotional service, even though they be without sufficient education and without sufficient knowledge of the Vedic principles, are still helped by the Supreme God, as stated in this verse. The Lord tells Arjuna that basically there is no possibility of understanding the Supreme Truth, the Absolute Truth, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, simply by speculating. For the Supreme Truth is so great that it is not possible to understand Him or to achieve Him simply by making a mental effort. Man can go on speculating for several millions of years, and if he is not devoted, if he is not a lover of the Supreme Truth, he will never understand Krishna or the Supreme Truth. Only by devotion service is the Supreme Truth, Krishna, pleased and by his inconceivable energy he can reveal himself to the heart of the pure devotee. The pure devotee always has Krishna within his heart, and with the presence of Krishna, who is just like the sun, the darkness of ignorance is at once dissipated. This is the special mercy rendered to the pure devotee by Krishna. Due to the contamination of material association, through many, many billions of births, one's heart is always covered with the dust of materialism. But when one engages in devotional service and constantly chants Hare Krishna, the dust quickly clears, and one is elevated to the platform of pure knowledge. The ultimate goal, Vishnu, can be attained only by this chant and by devotional service, and not by mental speculation or argument. The pure devotee does not have to worry about the material necessities of life. He need not be anxious. But when he removes the darkness from his heart, everything is provided automatically by the Supreme Lord, who is pleased by the loving devotional service of the devotee. This is the essence of the teachings of the Bhagavad Gita. By studying Bhagavad Gita, one can become a soul completely surrendered to the Supreme Lord and engage himself in pure devotional service. As the Lord takes charge, one becomes completely free from all kinds of materialistic endeavors. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनाशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातां सहगना रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनासहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगना ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तु ते। तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानन्द श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौरभक्तवृन्द। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna, devotees of ISKCON Boston and all the other devotees that are joining this Sunday Feast class online. A very warm welcome to you and a prayer that all of you are safe and sound in your spiritual practices, in your social responsibilities, and a uh, heartfelt gratitude to His Grace Vanamali Pandit Prabhu for requesting me to come and share some thoughts on this verse in the Sunday feast. Currently, because of the lockdown, no, none of us are traveling. I'm sure not even the temple has the open Sunday feast as it used to have, with the roaring kirtan and amazing darshan of Shri Radha Gopi Vallabha, and then wonderful feast cooked by the devotees, and 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 the most important aspect, the including all of them, all of these, is to exchange heartfelt, relationship with devotees. and we are all deprived of all this currently in person, but through technology and through the desire, we're still able to continue the tradition of coming together. And this particular verse and the series of verses is considered to be the essence of the Gita. And today we are discussing 10.11. So this is the concluding verse of the essence of the Bhagavad Gita, which Krishna speaks from 10.8 to 10.11. And in two of these verses, Krishna very wonderfully explains what is his role in devotees' lives. Currently, we are all wondering where is God in all this. Even for devotees and people in general, the crisis is unprecedented, and all over the world, the situation is gloom. And in such a state, naturally the questions will arise that about spirituality, about the need of spirituality. And this is a very apt verse to discuss in current context of the lockdown and pandemic. So I'll just give a brief, overview of these four verses. The first verse, 10.8, Krishna explains that how when one understands that aham sarvasya prabhu matta sarvam pravartate, that pravartate means movement or transformation, and to understand that how God is in everything and is moving everything, that he is a very dynamic factor in all of the existence. And Srila Prabhupada, the founder of ISKCON, always used to say that when you see a uh, car being driven, you naturally understand that there is a driver. I was yesterday hearing a class where Prabhupada was saying that, in childhood, when they first time saw this train being run, one of the friends, he told Prabhupada that there must be a horse in the train. Otherwise, how could the train run? Because the usual paradigm is the horses may help in motion. And of course, there was no horse, but there was a driver inside the train who was moving the train. And Prabhupada was saying that, for those who are not in knowledge of how things work, they think that everything is happening automatically. The trains are running, everything is running automatically. But one who is in knowledge, he understands that there is a driver, there is a horse inside the machine. Same way, there is a horse, there is a soul in this body which is moving everything. And as soon as that is not there, then even biggest of the elephants cannot move themselves. And the soul is also powered by its connection to the source. Just like in our body, everything is powered based on its connection ultimately to the heart, and then to the heart is powered by the presence of the soul, and then the soul is powered by its connection to the supreme soul, to the supreme lord. And Krishna explains that aham sarvasya prabhu in this verse, that I am the most fundamental aspect in all of the creation. But in the spiritual realm, in the material realm, God is not very evident in when we look out. And the reason for that is that we didn't want him to be so evident, especially when we came to spend some time away from him. And Krishna, as a loving father, gives us that freedom, gives us that space where we can try to experience a situation where he is apparently not there, but then the whole existence is based on him. And just like a fish cannot stay out of water, same way, we cannot, there is nothing that is beyond the Lord's creation. That's why once a minister was telling the king that, "O king, you are greater than God." And the king was quite, surprised by this kind of, glorification. It's appeared to be flattery. And then he wanted him to qualify this. How can I be greater than God? I am just a living being who's going to die when the time is up. How can I be greater than God? And then this minister, he said that God cannot throw anyone out of his kingdom, but you can throw someone out of your kingdom, because your reign is limited, but God's reign is everywhere. And that, for the devotees, is, for those who want to connect to him, is a very hope giving factor. No matter what situation is there in our life, no matter which place in the creation we are there, the range of God is there. Sometimes there is no coverage. If we go to some underground places or some places where there is not much satellite, so the range is not there. But Krishna's range, God is there, is within our reach and everywhere in this creation. Therefore, the verse says that those who understand this with proper intelligence and with proper reasoning, they put all their emotion and all their intelligence. There is a harmony between their intellectual pursuits and their emotional needs. Most of us, when we have to, for our intellectual pursuits, we go to our colleges or universities or study something, but often there is not much, we not much that we relish about it. So therefore there is other entertainment sectors right across any university, or there is, recreation places or theaters or places where you can have some fun. And people spend their evenings spending there, trying to get their emotional needs fulfilled. So in this way, in this world, these two appear to be different. Rational, our thoughts and our emotions, they are fulfilled in different ways. But when it comes to Krishna consciousness, when it comes to Krishna consciousness fulfills both of them together. So therefore, the devotee doesn't have to go, a person doesn't have to go anywhere else, to feel fulfilled. And therefore, Krishna is there everywhere, is in within reach. But the next verse, it explains, how do we tune in? How do we connect to that range? Just like you may have the cell phone coverage, but if you don't have the proper device, if you're not, using, if you don't switch on the proper settings, then you cannot have the proper coverage, connection. Therefore, the next verse, Lord Krishna explains, Machitta vadgata prana bodhayanta paraspara katayantasya mam nityam tushyanti cha ramanti cha. He explains that how, when the devotees discuss about his pastimes, discuss and engage all their hearts with the devotees, those who have love for the Lord, then that Krishna becomes a very evident factor, a, a substantial factor in devotees' lives. It's not just theoretical that we discuss about God being present, but there is no happiness, there is no experience of him. And many of us, we look for experiences. It said that previously people used to invest in properties, in assets, but now the trend has changed that people want to invest in experiences, because assets, no matter how much you accumulate, there is so much endeavor to first of all gain assets. And and after all that, there is no guarantee that those assets will give you an experience, because ultimately everything that we want to have in our life, either it be food, either it be a house, either it be anything, is to have a very comfortable experience of from that, a fulfilling experience. uh, but at times when this endeavor is only on the material platform, then we just end up not saving any any of our money, and just we run after experiences, travel so much and try to eat all types of foodstuffs. One of the reasons why the whole world is facing this is because of a irregular lifestyle and this great desire to experience different kinds of palettes on our tongue. And but the truth of the matter is that we're all looking for a fulfilling experience, and that fulfilling experience won't come in something material, because everything material is, it is, first of all, it is temporary. It doesn't long last. Once there was a girl who went to a snack bar, and she ordered the most one of the most famous Indian delicacies, which is a samosa. And she ordered the samosa. She was having it, and as she was having it, she realized that it wasn't so tasty. She had great uh, expectation from the samosa, but it wasn't tasty. So she asked the store owner, the snack bar owner, "Uncle, today's samosa doesn't taste as good as yesterday's." And the owner said that uh, uh, it should be the same, because it is the same samosa that was made yesterday. You had yesterday, and the same samosa I'm giving you today, maybe microwaved. And so the samosa that gave us experience yesterday cannot give us experience today. We have to make a new samosa or a new recipe. And in this way, many times the experience that we look for in this world is often temporary, and it doesn't also meet our expectations. We may go with great expectations, and the greater the expectations are, the lower is the outcome from that particular aspect. So therefore they say that it is better to be surprised than to be disappointed. When we are expecting a lot from life, a lot from our pursuits, our plans, and then things go wrong, then there is no great uh, pressure on our minds that why is this not happening. And currently in this lockdown, almost all of us are have faced that all of our plans have halted, have come to a screeching halt. And in these times you should understand that the we need not stick to the plans that were there before the lockdown. Just like before the English calendar system is called as AD and BC. So before Christ and after the death of Christ, there was a whole change in the way people lived their lives, or supposed to have lived their lives. So same way currently it seems to be our life before Corona BC, and then after the demise of Corona. Currently we are in that no man's zone, where in the future, when history will be written, will be in that zone where BC and AD will be redefined, and will be in the middle of it. But his world has always faced great challenges, great struggles. And when we are uh, experiencing something deep, then all these external situations don't disturb us, don't bother us. And Prabhupada, in the purport, he says that a devotee is not anxious. He does not worry, and nor is he anxious about his material necessities. And sometimes it is wrongly understood that, oh, that means I don't have to worry, I just sit and chant all day. Of course that's wonderful if we can absorb ourselves and understand. There have been devotees that just sat in Vrindavan and got absorbed. And even if physically they may not be met, If that is the expectation, then we have not understood Krishna consciousness properly. Krishna has arranged a system for us to fulfill our all different needs. There are physical needs, and for physical needs he has arranged the physical nature, and overseeing them are the different superintendents on like the government, and ultimately the universal government, which are the devatas. So Krishna has made a system where we, if we understand and follow the system, obey the system, then the system provides us. And but when we interfere and when we start to think that I can make my own system, that's when the calamities start. One of the uh, stories that is spoken, the historical things, is that long back in the 1950s, when the when the Chinese government was formed, this communist party, they would really wanted to develop themselves economically. And to develop themselves economically, they wanted to know what are those obstacles that are stopping our economic growth, especially because it was a agro based country. And then they found that there were a lot of pests that were bringing down the economy. And one of the rats, the snakes, and the the mosquitoes, and then the sparrows. They and these are called as the four pests that troubled the economy, and they wanted to get rid of that. And rats, obviously, because they come and eat away the grains, they spoil the plants. And mosquitoes, because they make us diseased. And then snakes, they kill. So they very systematically started to remove all of that. But sparrows, how can sparrows harm? But there, the speculation, which the Prabhupada also speaks here, that we often tend to, from our own point of view, try to speculate how what will be the best for our life. And this they kind of understood, or wrongly understood, that the sparrows were eating the grains in the crops, and quite a good part was being eaten away by the sparrows. And if the sparrows are driven away, then there won't be any thievery that is being done. So they uh, brought out means to either eliminate sparrows or drive away the sparrows. And it is said that they invented some kind of drums, that the noise of which was so disturbing for the sparrows, that they just flew out of the country, or many times they just dropped dead, even out of exhaustion. So this way, all the sparrows were removed. Slowly, all this pests were removed, and as expected, there was great bounty, that there was great produce that was there. The double the produce was coming from the agriculture, and everyone was happy with this great plan to remove all other factors that were limiting the economy. And everyone congratulated the masterminds behind this. But the next year, or the produce started to reduce, and very soon, within 1 or 2 years, the produce came to half the amount that was there even before this whole interference was there. And they all started to wonder that now the produce was 2 times, now it has become half the time. And that was very very worrisome, because people needed to survive, and there was a great famine in the 1960s that ensued because of this. And then this mastermind again investigated what actually happened. And then they found that the farms were now infested with locusts. Recently also there was this great wave of locusts traveling different places within India, or different places of Pakistan, Nepal, and destroying the crops. So these locusts had increased in numbers a lot, and they were eating away all the crops. And previous to elimination of the sparrows, the locusts were being eaten by the sparrows. But now there were no sparrows to eat the locusts. The locust population just exploded, and that destroyed all the crops. And now you cannot, once you drive away someone, it's not easy to invite them back to our house. We all know that when we speak harshly to someone, or when we don't attend to someone and they get disappointed, then they leave. Sometimes it happens even in temples that somebody is not attended, or somebody not welcomed properly. They just silently leave, and we keep wondering, oh, why is this devotee, why is this person not coming, rather than not understanding that there must be something wrong that I might have done, because of which he is uh, not coming. So anytime such situation happens, we try to understand. So right here in this country, they had no other source to stop this epidemic, stop this great devastation that was being done by locusts, and people were starving literally, and there was a great anguish and outro roar that how can we solve this, and even the government was wondering how do we address this. And the solution that had come up, which had subsided the trouble for quite a few years, but later became another source of trouble. And the solution that was offered that time was that, okay, all we need to eat is food, and if the grains are not there, then when and if the locusts are there, let's kill the locusts and then eat that. And locusts are insects. And previous to this, there was not much culture of eating all types of insects. But then this was propagated that it is fine, there's a lot of protein in insects, and it is good, it is as good as they they are eating the grains, they are processing it, and if you eat them, then it is fine. And then slowly the especially because of the famine, because of the starvation, people started to adopt these kinds of unnatural eating habits. And then very soon you understand that the whole culture became that of anything that flies you can eat. And the source of this coronavirus is something coming from that trying to eat all types of animals, not respecting the laws of nature and how we need to give everyone space. And so this is just a small incident in the history which shows that how when we don't understand and accept on the physical level the laws, the way the Lord has arranged his nature, and interfere with it, it causes great devastation. And currently we are all in that pandemic. And somebody said that coronavirus and carnivorous, they are almost made up with same words. And and the more lot of research that shows that how if we stop harming animals and interfering with the way the Lord has created this the world, then these kinds of epidemics that have come upon us uh, will be much less. It's not that death won't happen, but death won't happen at this kind of rate where everything has come to a halt. So Krishna explains that how when we relish being absorbed in him, machita madgata prana, then we experience God as a very wonderful factor. There is a story in the South India that is explained that once there was a sage, a devotee that was sleeping under a shed during the rainy season. And as he was sleeping during the rainy season, there was another devotee that was passing by, and he saw him that there it was a huge outpour of rain, and there was no other shelter. But he didn't want to disturb this sleeping devotee. But this man, he called him, "Hey Prabhuji, please come here. uh, you will be totally soaked in rain and you'll get sick, Why don't you come and sit here? And the devotee said that, there is no place to, you are sleeping, and there is no other place there, so I'll bother you. I don't want to barge in there. And said, don't worry, I don't need to sleep when somebody else is, totally getting wet. We can both sit together and protect ourselves from the rain, and in the meantime discuss about Krishna, about the Lord. And so that was a good arrangement. So both the devotees, they sat, they sat and they started to chant Hare Krishna. They started to discuss about Krishna. They started to discuss different pastimes of the Lord. And as they were discussing and relishing this, there was another sadhu that was passing by. And as this sadhu was passing by, again, now these two devotees who were sitting and discussing, they called him out, "Oh, Prabhuji, please come, please come." And he said, "Oh, there's no place. You both are sitting. If I come, then there won't be any place. So I don't want to trouble both of you. So, no, no, please come. If there is place for two of us to sit, then there is place for three of us to stand." And then that was a good arrangement. So when the third devotee came, he stood there, and they all three of them, they started to uh, uh, ex- exchange the different pastimes of the Lord, chant Hare Krishna, chant, do some kirtan. And in this way, the whole night passed, all three of them standing in that small little shade, protecting from the rain, and then discussing about Krishna. And all three of them, had a very powerful experience that night. And one of them voiced it out. At the dawn, one of them said that, "Did you feel the presence of a fourth person within, amidst the three of us?" And they all said, "Yes, we felt that there was this great spiritual energy and ambience that was surrounding all of us, as if the Lord was personally present there with us." And and it was a fact that when the Lord saw the cooperation between these three devotees, willing to take up some inconvenience and trying to be together, and not just be together discuss about Krishna, then the Lord was so pleased that he appeared there in their hearts and was giving them that soothing experience. So currently in the lockdown, one devotee was explaining that, devotees are all in financial crunch. Some people are losing their jobs, or their salaries are being reduced. So this principle can be utilized, that we don't have to live, uh, alone or lavishly at this current time. If need be, then let's reduce our necessities. If we can, stand, sleep peacefully, then let's accommodate others who are in greater trouble, and let's, share each other's troubles. And as we are sharing each other's troubles, let's hear about Krishna, let's hear about the Lord. Let's be keep that in the focus, because when we keep that in the focus, then our egos won't repel us away. Otherwise, as soon as two people start to stay together, start interacting together, naturally the egos start to clash. I know so many examples where, the son gets married. I'm speaking about India, and the whole consideration was, we want to be together, and we want to serve parents. But very soon, the dynamics change. Sometimes the dynamics are too much for the older generation to accept, or the new generation is not able to understand the needs of the older generation, and there is naturally that ego clash. And then, that ego repels. There may be good enough space in the house, but there is not enough space in the heart. And because there is not enough space in the heart, then people start to stay away. But in this story, we can see that how the devotees, they adjusted their lives so that they could accommodate others who are in trouble. And when there is this combination of us extending to help other devotees, and also at the same time keeping the focus of hearing and chanting about Krishna, which helps us our egos to not interfere, and the whole point of having the Lord in the center, like the Boston community has Shri Shri Radha Gopi Vallabha, in spite of all the differences that we have, because of the service that is we do, and because of the experience that we do from serving their lordships, that we want to be together in spite of all the troubles. So Krishna explains this, and then he says, and but where do we find such a place where, and how can we always remember tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam dadhami buddhi yogam tam. And the Lord explains that I give the devotees the intelligence, so that yena mam upayantite, how to come to me, it is me who imparts the intelligence. And with that and Krishna guides the devotees, like Krishna guided Arjuna whether to fight or not fight. Krishna guided Mother Yashoda whether to keep giving him the breast milk, or to go and save the future milk that was there for his service. Apparently Krishna was unhappy at the time, but then it was Krishna's will that devotees also not just absorb in current experience of that relationship, but also ensure that the future is also secure. And there is a catch in this, that sometimes we are so worried about what will happen in the future, that whatever milk or whatever relationship we have with Krishna, we are not able to be absorbed in that. But Mother Yashoda, she just spent some time, whatever time is needed to address the milk, and she came back to Krishna to again feed him. But by then Krishna was upset, of course. It is another very wonderful pastime that Krishna did. So Krishna, the Lord, always guides his devotees. How do we act in times of doubt? And in this particular verse, the time is quite short, but whatever time is there, in this particular verse, Krishna is speaking about removing the ignorance of his devotees. And I'll just like to highlight few words in this particular line, in this particular verse. Let me put up the verse again. So the Lord explains that Tesham Evanu Kampartam. Now, Tesha means those, all those devotees, all those people that have a desire, or are dedicating their lives for coming to me. To them, I show them special mercy. So the Lord, He takes steps to help his devotees. First of all, the devotees in the verse 2 and 3, he tells that how devotees have to take some steps, have to take some steps. And when the Lord and the devotees take steps, then the Lord takes unlimited number of steps to come to him. There is a example that is given to understand this. Every tree, when it has to grow, it needs two things. The tree has to get nourishment from the ground. It has to go deep into its basics, its and when it goes deep into its roots into the earth, then it becomes strong and it is nourished. And along with going deep, the tree also has to go up, because the both have to go simultaneously. It cannot just go deep and not come out. Then there is not much benefit that comes to the growth of the tree or to the world. The tree has to go within, extend its roots, make it strong. But another reason why how the trees grow up is that this is explained in one of the verses, that the trees are always looking up towards the sun. And although the seed may be very, very small or buried in the ground, its desire is to reach the sun. And because of its desire is to reach the sun, it somehow or other comes out of that, uh, earth into small leaves. And these two leaves, they soak in, they have again the desire to go up. And in this way, and the tree starts to move towards the sun. And as you can see that the trees start to, they always grow towards the sun. Even if you have a tree inside your home, the tree will try to grow towards the window, to where there is the sunlight is coming, because that's the way the trees are made, that the tree wants to reach the sun. But is there any way that the tree can actually reach the sun? No. The sun is millions of miles away, but the sun, seeing the desire of the tree to reach itself, the tree may have just extended itself few feet, maybe 3 feet, 4 feet, 5 feet, 10 feet. But when we take few feet towards the Lord, towards the sun, then the sun takes thousands of steps, and he comes into onto the earth planet in the form of the sunshine, and nourishes the tree, which may be small, which may be big, and makes the tree grow. So this is how the Lord also helps his devotees, that the Lord is far away, but he is also there in our heart. But when we want to come to him, then seeing our efforts, he removes that ignorance, and he jnana deepena bhasvata. He illuminates our journey, he illuminates our lives with the transcendental knowledge. And this transcendental knowledge is the most important when it comes to not becoming anxious and feeling uh, grateful for the things that we already have. Therefore, it is said that when grace comes into our life, then we start to understand that whatever I have is sufficient for me to take my relationship forward, to take my life forward. It is not that there is a great vacuum in my life. Yes, in terms of achieving some results, we may have some kind of limitation, but when we understand how Krishna is already caring for me, it's not that when we become devotees, Krishna's special grace comes, but when we become devotees, we become aware of already the grace, the love that God has already extended upon each and every one of us. And that awareness of the grace of the Lord makes us grateful, and that gratitude towards the Lord gives us that experience, and we want to hear more and more about him. And the more and more we understand about the love of the Lord, the more and more we become committed to his path, to wanting to come to him. Just like the tree, first of all, it has, the tree comes from this word truth. Truth and tree are very similar. The truth in our life has to grow like the tree, and that the tree grows through the leaves. And leaf and belief are also said to be coming from the same place. Just like the leaf, no, when there are leaves, then each leaf tries to absorb as much as it is not that just it is there, it absorbs the sunlight. Same way, that belief that yes, Krishna is there, and he is there for my good, and we through that belief in the Lord, and through that belief in Krishna's presence in our lives, when we uh, absorb the grace that is available within that realm, within that leaf, and so slowly those leaves, that belief also grows, and the truth, like the tree, becomes stronger and stronger. Then Krishna consciousness becomes an irrevocable fact, as Prabhupada explains. And Nashayami, Krishna says, all the ignorance, all the darkness that surrounds us, anxiety, worry, all the negative emotions, is born out of ignorance. Ajnana jam. It is born out of ignorance. And when that ignorance is removed from our lives, through the knowledge, through the transcendental knowledge, which Krishna or his devotees, the spiritual master, he helps us to become aware of that and try to connect to him through the other verses which Krishna explains, Machyata Madgata Prana. Then the devotee, in spite of all the troubles that are there, he becomes undisturbed. It's not that he is not concerned about the world situation. Everyone, all the all the devotees are praying that everyone gets strength in this situation. It has affected us mentally, it has affected us financially, it has affected us relationally, and in all these three aspects, if we see what can I do best in this current situation, and this situation is not going to last forever, and my opportunity to connect to the Lord. All other opportunities may be uncertain, but the opportunity to connect to the Lord is forever. If we understand that through the message of the Bhagavad Gita and through these regular classes that are happening currently on Zoom or YouTube or different channels, then we need to be nourished. Just like, just recently in one of the talks with Radhana Swami, the example was given that when we have to throw the ball, you have to take the ball backwards. And only when you take the ball backward do you get the strength to throw the ball forwards. Same way, there is a setback in our lives, but this setback we have to sit back, we have to take some time to go within, gain strength, and only when we gain strength by going deep within, by connecting to Krishna, can we bounce back again in our responsibilities in our life. And depending on the strength that each one of us can garner and the contribution that we can do, the Lord will empower, like he has empowered his different devotees in different ways. So I will stop here and see if any devotees have any questions or comments, or Vanamali Pandit who wants to make some announcements. Thank you very much.
We'll open up for the questions and see if anyone has any questions. So devotees, please.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, thank you for the very nice points that you brought in forward, Prabhu. This is Ranga Devi Dasi, Dandavat Pranams.
Dandavat Pranam.
And
Yes,
you also brought forward the point that locust kind of insect came in because without knowing the bigger picture, the men drew away the sparrows and the locust came, but when it dies, it gives all the nutrients to the soil. So this aspect really shows how much compassionate the Supreme Father is, Krishna is. Though we make mistakes, he doesn't leave us to our fate. He helps us in different forms to uplift us. And at this pandemic situation, things like these bringing up forward is really encouraging to to realize our own self, as well as inform to others who are not aware, and keep them motivated. Thank you for bringing so many wonderful points, Prabhu.
Yes, Machi, that example is very apt in situation that the Lord has already made all the arrangements. We need to be aware, we need to appreciate, and then we need to abide by that. And then we'll experience Krishna's love more and more, rather than becoming hopeless in the current situation. So it's a big lesson to respect nature and to follow the ways that Lord has asked us in the Bhagavad Gita and in the scriptures. Thank you for giving your understanding about that.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare
Rajkoti here.
Krishna, Rajkoti Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. So thank you Prabhuji for the wonderful class. Prabhuji, I have a small question. Prabhu, you explained about the mother Yashoda, how she has taken care about her work at immediately after finishing her work, she came back and served Krishna. But whereas in our life, sometimes we feel like we have so many things to take care, but we just caught up with the things and we forgot actually how to draw that line and how to remind ourselves so that we are sincere with our devotional things. Could you please explain?
Thank you, Prabhu, for as I'm seeing the names of the devotees, those whom I know, I feel like I'm there with different devotees. So in the spiritual realm, in the Goloka, the activities like Mother Yashoda churning the butter and all of them are in the foreground, and the absorption in Krishna, the chanting of Hare Krishna, the flute of is in the background. There is a background music, there is a background score that is constantly there. The background score in our current situation is anxiety, worry, and restlessness. And in such a situation, we are not able to serve the activities of the Lord. So the background in spiritual world is hearing and the constant chanting of Hare Krishna and the flute of the Lord, and the foreground is different services. But when it comes to our sadhana bhakti, in our sadhana, we have to make our sadhana very much in the foreground, and we have to see how our activities make the help us, just like any background score in any movie. It's for supporting the what is happening in the foreground. So same way, just like I have currently this curtain. Now this is the background and I am there. If the background is not proper, then there is constant botheration. So therefore devotees have to try to see that they adjust their material activities which form the background in which on based on which we can practice our day-to-day routines, but also understand that even if the background becomes troubled, behind this background is the eternal background of the spiritual world, where no matter what happens, Krishna, Radha, Gopi, Vallabha is always playing their flute, and they are always inviting us back to their abode. So just an example that it's my favorite example from Chopati, that one of our devotees, Krishna Chandra Prabhu, when his business was going in through a great crisis, he was in great anxiety. How do because literally it was going to fall apart, and he went to Rajanath Maharaj and he asked him that I'm in great anxiety, that how will my business, because somebody had cheated him, and so much work to be done, and how do I go forward? And that time Maharaj has just I told him that if nothing else works for you, we have a nice little locker in our ashram, and you can come and stay with us. And that time he started to reflect, oh, I am depending on so many other things, but look at this, brahmacharis, these monks, they hardly have anything, but they are happy. And so it's not for me to be happy, for me to be feel fulfilled, I don't need to have everything in life set. Now I'm not saying that brahmacharis are somebody who is blissful. They are also concerned about all the uncertainties. Sometimes they get worried, but the whole example is that survival is not such a uh, anxiety as we take it, that if this doesn't work out, then I'm in great soup. Just few days back, there was a devotee that I met. Because of this lockdown, he lost his job, but then he is coming for his services, his coolie, and during the day, whatever time he has, he is looking for other jobs. So to maintain our sanity, we need to understand the eternal background that is never going to change, and Krishna's love for us is there forever. And as my responsibility, I'll try to do best with the gifts, with the abilities that God has given me to try to serve in the best, try to acquire the best. But if something is limiting me, then let me not compromise my spiritual life, which is the which is supposed to be in the foreground. So in the morning and evening, devotees should especially make their sadhana in the foreground. And during the day, if they make their sadhana in the foreground, then somehow or other at least it will be there in the background. But if you don't make it a priority to bring Krishna in the foreground in some times of the life, then as Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, when we say Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya, and that Nityam means constant, or it can also mean regularly. Regularly, when we are coming to Krishna, then just like when you want to draw a line, first of all you put dots, and as you put dots, it becomes easier for you to draw a line. Same way for us to come into this constant absorbed stesham satata yuktana. Currently, we need to regulate our life and make our pointers to back to Krishna, to keep Krishna in the foreground, very much a priority. And then the uncertainties that may happen, we'll be able to deal with that. So I hope this answers.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Very nice
Hare
answer.
Krishna.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Vanamal Pandit Prabhu.
Haribol. Oh, sorry. I was. This is done. Okay. So, the BrajMohan Prabhu, on behalf of entire ISKCON Boston, we appreciate your time and your association online, Prabhu. It's very wonderful. Always, we look forward to have you. So please consider coming back to ISKCON Boston online series. We'll request you once again in future. But thank you for today for giving us this wonderful lecture on 10th chapter and 11th verse. On behalf of entire ISKCON Boston, I would like to express my deepest gratitude to you.
Thank you very much, Manmali Pandit Prabhu. You are like the rock that is keeping the boat afloat, steady in these difficult times. I'm sure a lot of services have come upon you because devotees were not able to visit Boston Temple. So my deepest gratitude to each and every devotee there for taking out your time, and please let us all remain convinced and committed to this path in spite of all the inner challenges, external difficulties that come, and let's remain at the lotus feet of, try to remain at the lotus feet of the Lord. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki.
Jai.
Haribol. Hare Krishna. Thank you. Haribol. Hare
Hare Krishna.